So when it comes to accessing CBD oil in Australia, you have two options. You can go through the medical pathway, which is legal, or you can explore the green market, which is still illegal in Australia. Now, I'm not a doctor, so if you have a medical condition, it's important you go and seek medical advice. And CBD oil is recreationally illegal in Australia. So if you want to follow the law, you can probably disregard what we're going to share about the green market. So I don't have anything personally against the medical pathway. There's really great things that I've found in the medical side, and same goes for the green market. There's good and bad on both sides. Since we started exploring CBD oil and how to access it, my opinion has changed quite a bit, and I know what I'm about to share is going to make some people upset, but I think it's really important we share the truth. So what I'm going to step you through is the process to access CBD oil through the medical pathway, and then we're going to talk about the same thing through the green market, and then we'll break those things down a little bit further and look at price, safety of the product, and a few other things. So if you decide that you want to go through the medical pathway in Australia, you can do this if you've got a medical condition that has persisted for a while and you've tried alternative treatment methods. It doesn't necessarily have to be a pharmaceutical medication. You can try different methods of healing, and then you may qualify for CBD or medical cannabis access in Australia. So the steps we recommend if you're going to try and explore the medical market are: 1, take an online eligibility test, and we've included links to that on our site and in our article. That's just going to tell you if you potentially qualify for medical cannabis or CBD oil. The second step after you have taken the eligibility test is to go and speak to your GP or your doctor to try and get a health summary and a referral to see a CBD doctor or a cannabis doctor. Now, we can't stress the importance enough of seeking medical advice and trying to get cannabis medicine through a trained cannabis doctor, somebody who really understands the plant. So the third step is to go and book in an appointment or a consultation, which you can also do online with a trained cannabis doctor. So they're the 3 steps that you need to take if you want to explore accessing CBD oil through the medical pathway. On the other side, if the medical pathway isn't for you and you've decided you want to try and go through the green market, the steps we recommend are similar. It's really, really important that you do a lot of education. You do a lot of research, So the first step is to make sure you really know what CBD oil is and if it's going to treat the condition that you have or it's going to help you out. Once you've done that baseline education, we really recommend that you join groups. So there's some amazing Facebook communities where thousands of people have tried a bunch of different products on the green market. They've talked about it. You can jump in there and you can ask questions. So the third step, after you've decided on a product you think might be good for you in a company, is to engage that company. So reach out to them and speak to them. Ask them if they can provide tests, certificate of analysis for their products. Ask them if they can recommend to you what might be the most suitable product for your condition. If you can speak to a real person, you're going to know pretty quickly whether they're full of shit or it's a legitimate company. So they're the steps for the green market. Now let's dive into this a little bit deeper. So I wanted to explore safety and quality of products a little bit further. Now there's a lot of rumors and a lot of misinformation surrounding CBD oil access on both sides. You can generally assume that there's going to be a higher level of testing and safety with products on the medical market. And that is just because there's more at risk for those companies. They have shareholders, they really don't want to screw up. So if you are able to access a medical product, you can generally assume it's got a higher level of quality and safety. Whereas on the green market, you really don't know what's in the product. Okay, but that's not to say that some of these green market companies aren't doing a lot of really fantastic testing. So the company that I've engaged with to get CBD oil previously are able to provide full certificates of analysis for all of the products. And I'm able to speak to them about it. So there are some really fantastic options on that side. And on the other side of that, when I first tried to order CBD oil, there was no health and safety recommendations or references with the product. So you need to be really, really careful. On the medical side, it's not perfect either. We've also spoken with some of the companies who are responsible for all of the testing on the medical market, and they've explained to us that a lot of the big pharmaceutical cannabis companies in Australia aren't having their products tested here. They're being imported. We don't know if they're organic. They're being potentially gamma radiated in transport, which is a whole other conversation. So we really can't be sure of safety or quality of product on either side. So that's why it's really important, whichever path you choose, you really investigate those certificates of analysis to see how quality the product is. And we explain more about this on our site. So another thing that people are often asking us is price comparison. This is where there's another rumor floating about that medical is way too expensive and green market isn't so expensive. And again, this isn't quite true. So when you're talking about a CBD product, you really need to make sure you are investigating the milligrams of CBD in that product. Okay, and that ranges on both sides, green market and medical pathway, from about 7 cents a milligram all the way up to $1. So you're generally going to find that the medical pathway is more expensive, but there's also a lot of similarities in prices. And the other thing to consider is, in some cases on the green market, you don't even know if there's CBD in the product. So to give you an example, what I'm paying for a product on the green market is roughly 20 cents per milligram of CBD, which is quite expensive, and it's very similar to what you would find in the medical pathway. But I know that this is a higher quality product, okay? And I know how much CBD that I need for myself for it to have a therapeutic effect. So the prices can be quite similar. Again, it just comes down to quality of product and what you're paying for. Is the product tested? Do you know all about the product, all the different cannabinoids, terpenes, and how it's going to help you the most? So the other myth that's circulating a lot is to do with ease of access. People are saying that it's really easy to get cannabis through the medical pathway, and I can confirm that this just isn't true. I've tried really hard to access medical cannabis, which I've detailed throughout the website and on the Instagram. And it's been an absolute nightmare. We've had other people give us feedback saying that it's really hard to speak to their GP. They don't want to even have a bar of it. And on the other side of that, we've had people have really good experiences through the medical pathway. This is just me, and we've heard some people have great experiences. If we're looking at ease of access on the green market, again, it comes down to how much work you've done before making a purchase. So when I first tried to access CBD oil through the green market, it was quite easy, but the product I got was very low quality. After I was able to engage with the company by using the steps I outlined at the start, the access was really good, the communication was fantastic, and I had no trouble getting really good information, education, and products. So the final takeaway is just make sure you're really doing your research. We can't say that the medical pathway is better or the green market pathway is better. It really comes down to your personal circumstances. Just make sure you're really doing a lot of your own research.